Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings go into effect across the region tomorrow. Officials are warning folks to take precautions to stay cool and out of the doctor's office. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel joins us first with how hot it's going to get. Paige?
Yeah, Steve, it's about to get pretty hot and humid as we head into the next couple of days. I think it's neat to see that really we're going to see a pretty big heat wave all across our region. Check this out. You can see the excessive heat warnings and those heat advisories. Those are stretching all the way from the East Coast, even back into parts of Mississippi. It's just going to be pretty hot, pretty humid, that even going all the way into Kansas as well. Now, for today, really wasn't that bad outside. We reached a high of 82. Now, of course, that was at Jackson. Other areas were warmer where they saw more rain, usually right around 85 for this time of year. And even that low of 71, though, definitely above that normal value of 66 for this time of year. I think we could be near record-breaking temperatures, of course, as we head into the next couple of days. But check out those temperatures now. Still a little bit on that humid side, really those low 70s for some, but still those upper 70s if we're looking out into parts of Cumberland Valley. But as we look at satellite and radar, we've dealt with those pop-up showers and storms today. And if you got one or two of those, well, you definitely got a little bit of a cool off. I was out in London earlier. We did not see those, so it was definitely pretty hot and very humid. Good news is, as we scan the skies now, we're seeing those drier conditions, but that will be pretty helpful as we head into tomorrow. So that dangerous heat really moves in tomorrow and for your Saturday as well. Good news is a cold front does arrive, of course, brings us more rain, which is some bad news, but the good news is cooler temperatures arrive just after that. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right, Paige, thank you. A closed meeting to talk about how to help the homeless after a murder involving two people who stayed at Hazard's Hope House homeless shelter. Hazard Mayor Happy Mobellini wants more communication between organizations. WYMT's Emily Bennett went to the meeting to find out what they plan to do.
The future is uncertain for the Hope House.
We hope to reopen over the weekend.
And meetings about where to go from here will take place.
The future of the Hope House really depends on the directors, because they don't have paid staff and stuff, and it's all by volunteers. But I think that, we'll have meetings to address that in the next week.
After the murder involving two Hope House residents, Hazard Mayor Happy Mobellini is taking action.
We've had a tragedy. Everyone's afraid. But we want to address the fact that, we're not targeting or criminalizing homelessness.
He held a meeting bringing organizations who help the homeless discuss their services. But there's one problem.
Everybody doesn't know who provides what.
And Ben Fugit, president of the Hope House, has had many cases of not knowing what to do.
Many times we've been in the corner and just kind of scratch our head and say, man, where do we go from here?
They hope to create a brochure.
And they're looking for this, and this. We have a resource to tell them this is where you get it, and have people willing to help try to maintain that.
To connect their resources.
So while one agency may specialize in something in particular, another organization may offer something that they often need and don't know where to turn to.
But in the meantime, Ben Fugit is focused on the future of the Hope House.
We're by far still open, so to speak. We're not going anywhere unless we're forced to.
Hoping to still be able to help the community. In Perry County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Mayor Mobellini is planning to meet again with the organizations next Thursday. A full list of those organizations involved in today's meeting will be on our website, WYMT.com. Heavy rainfall flooded several communities in Knox County again. County officials say they were called out early this morning after many roads were washed out, cars were damaged, and some homes even flooded. Homeowner Donna Langford lives along Highway 225 and says water coming off a mountain hits her home first, making her fear every time it rains.
The water has nowhere to go but just down, and it's bringing all the creek rock, as you can see, all over my yard, what was in my house.
County officials say no injuries were reported and no one had to be rescued this time. While people are taking advantage of the sunshine and warm temperatures, it's also important to remember to stay cool, especially over the next couple of days. Whether you're working in construction or playing at the park, doctors want to remind people that the heat can cause health issues. So they are asking everyone to take the proper precautions so that heat exhaustion or heat stroke can be avoided.
During the summer months, you really need to pace yourself if you're doing a lot of outdoor activities, particularly construction workers. I have a patient in the hospital now. He's in with heat stroke. You can have symptoms such as muscle cramps, aches, confusion, dizziness. These are all signs and symptoms of a heat stroke.
Dr. Jones also says when you are outside to make sure you take breaks in the shade or indoors. The Pikeville Police Department is looking for information that could lead to the arrest of Barry Miller, a man accused of attacking his neighbor with an axe earlier this year. Police say they responded to a call in the Island Creek community in March, during which a man said his neighbor had attacked him with an axe. The man did not receive any life-threatening injuries, but police say Miller ran from the scene.
Officers were called to the scene. Mr. Miller fled into the woods and actually began to throw rocks and logs and other things at the officers.
Miller was not captured and remains on the run. He now has a warrant for his arrest, and an indictment has been handed down by a grand jury. Police say anyone with information should contact law enforcement. A promising change in the opioid epidemic. For the first time in 3 decades, overdose deaths dropped last year, according to the CDC. The number also went down here in Kentucky, with more than 200 fewer overdoses in 2018 compared to the year before. State officials say that's encouraging, and they point to Narcan and treatment as reasons for the decrease. But as Matthew Rand reports, Kentucky's public health commissioner says there's a lot more work to do.
What brought me here was...
Lexington native Michael Evans says he started using opioids right around his 18th birthday.
It started off with painkillers, then it went to heroin, cocaine, crack.
His most recent run-in with the law brought him to the Hope Center back in November. He says this time he was willing to try something different.
Tired of going in and out of jail. Tired of letting my family down.
He says his life of addiction always had him on the run, looking behind his back and down on himself.
Today I don't feel that. Today I feel happy, I'm joyous, I'm free.
Officials with the Hope Center say the decrease in opioid deaths nationally and here in Kentucky correlates with their own data.
Actually, at intake, we do ask our clients, we ask them what their drug of choice is, what they've been struggling with.
And fewer of them are claiming opioids. Hope Center Director of Development Carrie Thayer says there's a lot out there these days helping people struggling with addiction.
Recovery is much more talked about, and it's much more available for many.
She also points to the widespread use of Narcan, which she says has even been used to reverse overdoses in their own facility.
Most in our community have that, who are out on the streets, emergency personnel, our staff. A lot of people even carry it in their purse.
Evans now works as a peer mentor, helping others break free of addiction. For him, the latest overdose numbers are a reminder of where his old life could have easily taken him.
I'm grateful it wasn't me, you know, because I know if I put another one in me that it could be me.
He hopes to continue helping others find a better way of life. Reporting in Lexington,
The Hope Center has given me a new life, and I love it.
Matthew Rand, WKYT.
Absolutely outrageous. That's what 9/11 first responder advocate John Stewart called Senator Rand Paul's blocking of a unanimous vote to extend the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund until 2090. The Kentucky senator says he wants to add an amendment to, quote, offset the cost. A majority of the Senate so far has vowed to pass the bill into law without the proposed amendments.
They ran into harm's way to save lives. And even after the towers collapsed, they looked for survivors. And then they had the horrible job of finding remains. For weeks and months thereafter, breathing in toxins that are killing them. Now is our chance. The eyes of the nation are on us. They want us to stand by our heroes and truly mean what we say when we say never forget.
Senator Paul has made similar amendments in the past to different bills. Utah Senator Mike Lee also stopped the unanimous vote by proposing an amendment that would only fund the program for the next 10 years. The Senate is expected to vote on the bill next Tuesday. At least 200 New York firefighters have died from World Trade Center-linked illnesses. The R.W. Combs school community is helping out their principal after his home burned down. It happened earlier in July. Now, as the school year nears, his staff and students are getting a head start on helping his family get back to normal. They held a spaghetti dinner at the school, hoping to raise money for the family. At $6 a meal, they had served more than 400 people in just an hour. just a small thing for a community that loves to help.
She gave us that idea because it's a lot of work, but it's easy at the same time, easy money. So that was just one of the things that we wanted to, I guess, kick off the fundraisers for the bakers was with a dinner.
There will be more fundraisers at a later date. YMCA partners and affiliates joined together at the Pikeville area YMCA today for the groundbreaking of the new Wellness Center addition. The addition, which includes 2 separate pools for the community, will be added to the current structure in Pikeville. One of the pools will be a shallow pool with a splash pad, while the other will be a full-sized community pool. The YMCA is working with the city of Pikeville and a number of other partners to bring the project to completion. Those in charge say the new pool is a partnership to benefit the community because it will replace the former city pool.
The city came to the Y and said, hey, this is a great place for it. You're involved with kids, we're involved with kids. Let's partner in this.
Those involved say the addition still needs an additional $500,000 in funding, but is expected to be complete by May 2020 and will be open year-round. Coming up at 11, the president says he is not happy with chants made at his campaign rally last night in North Carolina.
And those very hot temperatures will arrive for the end of the work week and into the weekend as well. We'll take a look at that full forecast next.